Welcome. Truly, welcome. This is Hilton Milan. Thank you for tuning in to Divine Times. I'm here with some Divine Dude guests. Let me introduce you. Stephen, who you've met before, and Daniel Bax.
Mr. Hilton. It's been a joy to be back here again.
You know, when we first met, might be 7-8 years ago?
Yeah, I'm thinking closer to 8 years.
Alrighty. So, I remember meeting you in this seemed not a very bright bistro tavern of sorts, but it was a event where there were probably 50, 60 people, business networking.
Oh, yes.
That's right. And somewhere early on, someone said I ought to meet Daniel Bax. And they brought me over to introduce, and I sat down, and I think we spoke for, I'm sure it was 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, we everything just blocked out. Like, anybody around us just didn't exist anymore. We just started talking. All of a sudden, the next thing you know, it was because
the place was closing.
They asked us to leave, to pack up and go because it was closing.
Yes. So, this seems like divine connection to me. And, not to put something in a box, but to put something in the infinite for all of us. Beyond our finite selves, but yet in this infinite now.
Yeah.
And making these deposits, these deliveries, these downloads, these uploads, is just such a privilege for me. And having you come and visit, on air, so to speak, on the ground, I wanted to ask you to share, a little bit of your story of your story of how some of the things you've been through that have been most divine.
That is a loaded question.
Yeah, it's well loaded.
Yeah.
And Stephen, if you want to simplify it.
Yeah, any place where you find you got a connection and you communicate, let's just open the banter up.
Yes.
Well, whatever comes through, Daniel, we all have life experiences.
Yeah.
We just, wherever it starts, that's the beginning.
I'm just trying to think. When we met was after the initial injury that I had.
Right. You had a massive event occur in 2005.
Yeah, it was. I was in a massive motorcycle accident where I punted a car at 140 kilometers an hour on my street bike.
Ooh.
That made a left-hand turn, and as I blew through the back window, momentum tore me out of the vehicle, and the glass partially severed my head all the way down to my esophagus. And as I came down on my face, I exploded my right side of my brain and broke copious other parts of my body. But either way, the journey was.
And that was shadow, by the way. Like, there must have been a bigger shadow self then when you were going through that.
Yeah, my shadow didn't move that fast. And
yeah,
it was. I spent the next 4 years in hospital and rehabilitation, and I had one surgery a month for 3 years. So I've had 35 surgeries in 36 months.
Did you have an experience where you died or remember dying?
Yeah, I was dead on the road when they came and picked me up. I bled out because I cut my carotid artery and it was just losing all the blood, and I bled out.
So that's what happened. Do you have some recollection of what you experienced?
Absolutely. It was when the EMS came there, and this is why I want to connect with everybody that's in the EMS, anybody that works with emergency services at all, is what you say, and it's how you connect with us when we're on the ground, when we're down. It is your words that empower us to stay here. Like, for example, I was dead. I actually had my soul leave my body, and I can recall being above and seeing the EMS come in, and I was leaving my body. And he came down, and all I remember is the gentleman grabbed me, tucking the artery back in my neck, and he just said to me, "Don't worry, we've got you." And my soul didn't go any higher. I just stayed floating, and then I went whoop, right back in the body.
Whoa! What was that like?
It was just, it was an experience to know that they had me. I was safe, and with those words and the confidence and the competence of the beings that were there to pick me up, I knew I was going to the right place to be connected with other higher sources of energy that could help suture this being back, Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Well,
And so then I came back in, and then total confidence that I was going to be here. And I come back with a greater purpose, mission, and understanding of life, with little judgment on people that have endured injury or that are challenged.
what do you mean, little judgment?
Like before, I was very judgmental as to somebody, because I endured all kinds of injuries myself. And I overcame them, broke this, broke that, snapped this, cracked that, and I just had surgeries and got them all fixed up and got back into a very aggressive form of physical life with the sports I was doing and with my own business.
Yeah. You're
And
an entrepreneur, so you're self-employed.
Yeah, I was a master carpenter, and I had a window washing company, and I just didn't see why people were stuck.
Yeah,
And
you
then-
were doing stuff all the time, in the
Yeah,
physical. And
Absolutely. And so if I injured myself, I fixed myself, get back on ride again.
What were your drivers before your injury or before your transformation?
Just
What
to
were you like?
I just wanted to experience life, but I was
Alright.
reckless in doing it. Because
Okay.
the sports I did, I wasn't extremely reckless compared to some people, but I was reckless because I just pushed myself beyond. I did jumps that I knew physically I could do, but maybe I didn't judge them properly, and then I'd crash and injure myself, like kind of like the Red Bull Rampage,
Yes.
dropping off big, huge jumps and cliffs. We weren't even going that high and that far at that time, but I was doing that. So if you crashed, there was pieces of you that were shattered or mangled.
So you just went for it no matter what to experience life full out.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah. And then you had the accident,
And then-
and then you were in bed, weren't you, for a long time?
Yeah, I was in the hospital and rehabilitation facilities for 4 years, and I was in a coma for 10 days.
And then how was the beginning of your reawakening? And what was that?
That all began when I was still in the bed. The Creator came to me and he just says, "Daniel, you're here for a greater purpose. Now you must live for a purpose and give for a purpose. Give unconditionally with love, unexpecting return, but just give, and knowing that you're there to empower and engage with another soul."
That's wonderful. That's a real level to experience.
It was, and that's how I rolled through the hospital. No pun intended, but in a wheelchair, how I rolled through the hospital.
And what he can do, we can all do. We don't need the trauma, or some of us may,
No.
but just to be able to experience that just warms my heart.
And that's one of the big things, and one of the key messages I've got coming out. I guess it's kind of like a background, underlying message of what I do is,
Well, you have a book. It's actually called, is it Daniel Back Speaks?
now that's the business. That's my speaking business. The book
Oh.
is called The Life of Your Choice.
The Life of Your Choice.
And the reason why it's The Life of Your Choice, I'll get to that in one moment,
Yes.
is that my underlying purpose here is to let everybody know, is like, we don't have to go through trauma. We don't have to lose a leg to realize how much we appreciate it.
Well, like
We
I've
don't-
gone blind and like I realized, like, oh man, I really took for granted seeing.
Yeah, and that's something that we've talked about before. We even shared, just appreciating what you have, and you'll find that you always get more just by
Yeah.
being grateful for what you do have, and that goes with your eyesight. Goes
Yeah,
with,
and I see a little, and now I'm seeing, I actually can see it closing my eyes. It feels weird because I so love seeing even the shadow bit that I could see in the contrast. And yet it's a little bit more fun beginning to see you like this, as light beings.
and that's how I saw when I first woke up, because I was temporarily blind for a while. All I saw was just energetic beings just moving around. I could tell who was the staff in the building, because there were dark. It wasn't dark energies. There were like a darker shadow color.
Yeah.
And then who was the ones, the nurses who connected with me, because they had a lighter, more
A
sunlight,
brightness.
yeah, sunlight nature to them, because they
Yeah.
had a love for me, because they were caring for this vessel, this being the soul.
Yes.
And then I could tell who my family came in, because I could even see down the hall when they got off the elevator. I could see their size and their shape and everything. And even though I didn't have recollection of who they were, because I completely erased my mind and my memory,
Yes.
but I could see them because they were that deep power red, like that blood red moon the other night.
Mm.
It was a deep, powerful red, eminent, radiant soul, and I could tell who my mother was because her energy just resonated through the entire floor. And she was just letting everybody know, Mom was here.
Yeah.
Take care of my boy.
The love for her son and to see you through.
Yeah, earlier you guys were talking about the mother's love. The power of mother's love. Like, we're fathers, and as much of love as we may have for our beings, our dogs, our friends, our babies, I can't fathom, other than just seeing my mom come off the elevator, I can't fathom what that kind of love one would experience, a mother would experience for their child. It's powerful, and there's no scale of it. So my mom, when she came off the elevator, the other souls that were on the floor knew that she was there.
Yeah.
And just as us as dudes, as men, you know, then it's like, oh my, you know, when that's in force, that's like not just a dame, a divine dame who's just, you know, her presence is there for her loved ones.
And without saying a word, it walks in with confidence and empowerment. It doesn't matter who they are or where they are in their own lives at that time. When their loved one, the passion they have for their loved one that may have been injured, to care for them,
Yes.
it's like you can't move that being, that soul. That love is so powerful. They'll walk through walls and break down barriers to make sure their loved one is taken care of.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the only way we can experience that is the love from the Creator for us.
Yes.
That we feel that. But like as men,
So-
I don't know if we can get to our own space where we can feel that for people.
Could I say a few words?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
please.
When my grandmother was very ill, I loved her dearly. My mother was there, and I said to her, I says, Mom, and my mom loved her mother so dearly. And I says, Mom, I said, I can see these twirling vortices of energy. And she says, can you see their faces? I says, no. She says, do you see the red sash that they have? I says, no, I don't see that. I just see the movement and the energy. She says, those are the ones that have come here to help her. I says, can she see them? She says, I don't know, but I can see them, and you can see them. And that's where the help comes, from that higher place. And that seems to be the higher place from which your mother was coming to see you. And that infused you with life. And it's like that is a gift of all gifts to receive. Because even though we can't really experience the feminine thing, but by even getting it secondhand, it takes us to a different level.
It's a love that say the spiritual world talk about the divine has for us. It's like when a being has that, like another soul has that for its offspring, its loved ones, it's so infinitely powerful. Just having that experience, just having that love around you, and just experiencing that love, it's healing of its own. And I can share how I even have my mother there, because I was very blessed to have my mother there with me many days when I was just getting out of the ICU, and even when I was in the ICU, I think immediate family was the only ones that were allowed in there. And having her around me, just having her love there, and I never ever liked my hair touched, but having my mom run her hands along through my hair and just being there with me, the love was so soothing and so healing. Even though I couldn't cognitively understand what was going on, the essence of it, my being God.
The essence, your being God. It's amazing.
So this might have been, you know, a dozen or 10, 20 days, you know, after your accident, and you were just becoming into consciousness or some awareness. Can you tell me, you know, because when I went to shake your hand today, I asked about your bones, and I guess I'll just say curiosity right now. Are you aware of how many new parts you have in you?
I don't necessarily have new parts, but I have different bone screws and staples in me all over the place, and I don't know.
From foot and right to head.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, nothing in my head directly. In my jaw, 2 plates with some staples in there or some pins in there. All my metacarpals. I don't really recall.
So beyond, like, you know, and I know then you have like screws and different bones and this and that. you know, like, are you past most of that now, where you're just like embracing life fully, or do you battle with any of this?
There was never a battle. Never a battle.
That's amazing.
It was always an opportunity to experience who this being is known as Daniel.
Yes.
What it's like to be human. It was always an opportunity to experience. Like going back to the initial question you asked me. Initial? It might have been the fifth
Yes.
one, I don't care. My book, The Life of Your Choice.
Yes.
That book is based on the diary that I wrote when I actually learned how to write a diary, and actually to hold a pen.
Mm-hmm.
Is the diary that I wrote on what my personal experience going through rehab and all the different surgeries I had, what I did to heal, how I connected with the earth, and how I overcame things, and how I saw things that we mentioned earlier. The perception you get is one. It's perspective that you walk away with that makes the difference in your world. And I could walk away with a perspective saying, oh, this is crap, this sucks, I lost this, I lost that, and I don't have this, I don't have that, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is funny. Going to the blah, blah, blah. The nurse came in my room one day and goes, Mr. Bax, have you mourned? I'm guessing it was the morning nurse. I don't know, pun intended. But it's like, I didn't know what the word mourn meant.
Yes.
It was a new word for me. So like, what is mourning? She goes, well, in essence, is basically feel bad for everything you've lost, put more misery on the pain you already have, feel like complete shit so I can give you some more drugs, and then when you get up in the morning, I'll send you to the counselor. He's like, yeah, why don't you just light me on fire? It'll be much easier in the morning. So I said, okay, I'll try that. And I went, and she was looking at me, watching me. I guess she figured I would probably just come back and say something. I said, how do you do this? She gave me her examples where you recognize what you don't have, and you realize what you lost. Just look back on everything you had, the fact that your body's all messed up and you're all screwed up, and you'd like to never walk again. You're probably never going to talk properly, and like to never be self-efficient and self-sustainable, and you're just going to be a vegetable stuck in a home for the rest of your life.
She was the opposite of your mother.
Yeah.
The complete opposite.
It was angel and devil.
Oh.
She was a hired angel to be a devil. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I just it's a pun.
But what a wonderful
to
teacher also.
Not trying to label somebody. It was, and so as I stood there, I went, okay, let me try this. This sucks. But look where I am. I'm in a hospital and people are taking care of me. Okay, that didn't work. Try again. So yeah, I gotta think about what I can't do. Yeah, just like you look at yourself. You're all mangled. Okay. Father, why did you do this to me? I didn't do this to you, Daniel. And I heard it clearly as I hear both of you right now. I didn't do this to Daniel. You did it to yourself. Now you must live for a purpose and give for a purpose. Give unconditionally with love, and you will heal far beyond the understandings of what anybody here can tell you is possible.
That's why they call you the Miracle Man, don't they?
Some do, yes.
Some do, yeah.
So I walked back, I looked at it, I said, okay, I'm all done. And I smiled with a half smile, because this Friday side was numb. I was like, okay, I'm all done. She's like, morning doesn't happen that fast. No, the morning doesn't, but I'm done mourning. And she's like, you don't mourn that quick. So then she sent me down to the counselor, and it's like, I'm done. It's like, I realize I don't have that. Why do I got to focus on what I don't have when I can focus on where I am right now, even though I don't have all my faculties functioning with me?
Mm-hmm. That was amazing.
But now I can focus on what I can do to make them work better and who I could become with where I am now.
Yes.
Yes.
And the counselor was looking at me going, you sure you don't want drugs? I was like, you want to buy them from me? But like, it didn't make sense. I had no understanding. I was like, why would I want to make myself feel worse than I'm feeling right now? And
But
the worst I'm feeling is the fact that
world.
my neck is partially severed. And I look like Herman Munster because I got scars and incisions all over me.
Yes.
It's like, that's bad enough. So even while I'm feeling bad about that, I can think of what can I do to heal. So going back on what you guys were talking about earlier,
Yes.
it was just connecting with the earth and going back to the angel, my mother, that rolled me out. I went like this. I couldn't talk. I just went, She goes, "What, honey, what? You want your leg on the ground?" Well, actually, I couldn't even wiggle my head at the time. I had to blink twice for yes, once for no. So she said, "Okay," puts my leg on the ground. So I connected with the earth. And what do we call the earth?
Mother Earth.
And what does mother always want to do for her babies?
Nurture.
Rejuvenate.
Love, grow strong.
Support and empower and be there.
Yes.
So my mother connected me with the mother.
Yes.
And the numbness that was in my leg and my left side, my body, they said that I'd never feel anything beyond. They came by and scraped my foot every day to see if I'd feel anything. Within times, a little skewered, but within 10 days, I started to feel sensations in my left side and started to wiggle my toes. And within, I don't know how long was I at that hospital. It wasn't very long. It was at hospital. Oh, that was the rehabilitation facility. They moved me up to next. And they expected me to be there, moved me into a long-term care facility, and I was there for 9. And I said, I was rolled in, and I couldn't talk very well. And the greeter came down and goes to me, goes, "Mr. Bax, welcome. We'd like to welcome you to our facility. And so what would your goal be here at our facility?" I whispered in my little whispers that I could speak. I said, "I'll leave here in a year." And he stuck back and he's like, you can see his thoughts. You can clearly see the thinking.
Yeah.
This dude doesn't know his shit's all messed up, man. He ain't leaving this place ever. Try this again. "So, Mr. Bax, what is your goal while you're here?" And I looked right him square in the eye and I said, "I'll leave here walking in 1 year." And he goes, "Okay, we'll talk about that later."
Can I say a little bit?
Yes.
When people say, "I don't want to live," before they go into surgery, almost 100% die.
Die during surgery.
Yeah, because the psyche is given up and the soma dies. If in your psyche you set up the intent, the soma responds. The doctors only go from the soma and forget the psyche. And we talked about this on one of our shows, how cymatics, when you speak, it produces a shape, a circle, a triangle, whatever, and it has a color and it vibrates. So what you speak goes on within you and comes out as shapes around you. And those shapes are healing shapes because your words are healing words. The doctors are putting shapes out within themselves and outside that says from the somatic, from the physical, none of this is possible that you're talking about. But you know intuitively within yourself that you have the words of power to vibrate and heal yourself. The psyche is connected to the soul. The soul, the psyche, the body are one. You can heal yourself because you set up the intent. And the doctor should not be allowed to take someone's intent away from them.
You said it so well because that's a grand opening into what I've shared with Hilton before, is that everything is in the power of the word. People don't understand the power of the word is so incredibly powerful. When you say, "This sucks," guess what? It's going to suck. You say, "I'm clumsy," guess what? You're going to knock something over or stub your toe. You say, "I'm powerful, I'm loving, I'm a divine, creative source." I speak these words into my life every day, and that was the key thing when I did it when I was at the hospital. Rolled me in there, so I told him I want to walk out of here in a year. And he just scratched his head and said, "Oh man, this dude doesn't know that his shit's just messed up." And either way, we'll work with that. We'll send him to it. It's like, I left walking out of that building, in 9 months.
Yes.
I made it from about here to the camera.
Cheers, a champion.
Yes, sir.
Truly.
I made it from here to the camera. I gave him my cane and my walker. I made it from here to the camera. I turned around, walked back. I grabbed the cane. I said, "I might still need that." And hauled my way out of the
Well,
building.
you got to be practical too.
And going back to what you just mentioned,
Yes.
it made a dramatic impact to the entire floor. It was the 4th floor, I think, of TRI, Toronto Rehabilitation Institution, right across from Sick Kids.
Yes.
Which they got to rename that hospital, Sick Kids. That's like, should be called
That's the wrong
Well
name.
Youth.
Yes.
It's like how to keep somebody sick. Put them in Sick Kids. But what the doctor, surgeon said, "You'll never walk properly again, walk unassisted, talk properly again, likely don't remember anything prior to the injury, and won't ever likely have proper function of his left side. I was sitting there thinking, thank you for your opinions.
Yeah, your opinion.
Your opinions allow
So
me
you
to have.
honored them, and you said that's not.
Well, I looked at him. I said, "Your opinions. Thank you for your opinions. Your opinions give me a perception of where I start from."
Mm-hmm.
But going back to what you said, so many people take those opinions and go, and then the loved ones go, "Honey, just sit here. Doctor said you can't do this," so they just sit there and they don't do much more than just survive the rest of their life.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And that's part of my visions and goals is actually to, I know, understand there's a whole bunch of legalities behind it, what they can't say, but in not saying you can't or never will, to say right now it looks like you can't, but there's somebody out there who's made it happen, and you could be the next.
Yes.
To cover their backside so they can't come back and say, well, the doctor said you said I can do this. Like, you could potentially be one of the million. Like, just popping a bit of hope in there, there's a chance, versus shutting them down and giving them no bleak light at all. Such as where we went, Divine Times, with the lighthouse. Like, not having any light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. That's what destroys.
Completely. So
We say light at the end of the tunnel, but perhaps, there's light at the beginning of the tunnel that we've forgotten. So it's just always light.
Here's where the light was. You don't know where the light was at the end of my tunnel? Was the EMS guy opening my eye up and shooting the light bulb into my eye, and allowing the little black piece of plastic so they
Yes.
can fine tune into your eye to see if your pupils dilate.
Mm-hmm.
That was the tunnel. I was like, well, I'm not too far from that. I'm gonna head there.
And I think you did.
Yeah.
So going back with what you said a moment ago, the ladies, and this is just one example, and it just became my way of being, and then everybody started changing and moving differently and communicating differently on the floor. But when they'd walk into my room and they'd say, Mr. Back, would you like me to roll you down to therapy? Don't want to go to therapy? Yeah. Well, jump on, I'll roll you down to therapy. Is everything okay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Want to go to therapy? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, jump in. I say, I don't roll, I walk. I clearly couldn't even stand up on my own. She puts me in the chair, and I'm going down, and I got my one foot like this, and she goes, you can't walk, Mr. Bax. I said, I'm walking. Okay, Mr. Bax, you want to walk down to therapy with? Yes. And she thought she was just going to play a game with me just to get me happy enough to get up in the chair.
Yeah.
I'm going down the hallway with my one leg, and I'm truly making the statement. I'm actually envisioning myself walking. I'm saying to her, I love walking with you. It's so much fun. I look out the window, there's a bird on a tree, and it's like, look, we're walking in nature. It's like, I love walking in nature with you. I'm just joking with her all the way down the hall, walking with my one leg out. And because I proclaimed it, I became it.
Yes.
And that's every single thing. So when it going through therapy, I was telling the nurses or the therapists what I am doing, not what I want to do, what I would do, or what I would like to try.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing this. Mr. Bax, you can't do that. Well, they realized after a short time of dealing with me, brain injury or not, maybe it's just stubbornness because I'm a Taurus, I wasn't going to deal with anybody telling me that I could not do something.
Yes.
Because I'm seeing myself clearly moving my hand when it couldn't move. Functioning, communicating, and walking. And back with what you just said and what we've talked about, it is everything we have within us. It all starts off with a thought. Who we communicate, as you talked about the subconscious, your subconscious doesn't know that you're not walking, or doesn't know that I wasn't walking. When I said I was walking, it's like, oh shit, I better figure this out, man. I better get this guy walking. And starts to work with the, I call them the minions inside the body, to put the nerves and everything else back together again so you can start walking again.
May I say a couple words, Daniel?
Absolutely. It's the conversation. Mind you, I've taken over, but...
No, it's good. This is your time. I went to pick up something for the bakery, and there's a guy in front of me, and I saw him trying to pick up the change, and then I realized his arm was amputated up here, and I could see this red arm trying to pick up the change, but it was an energy arm trying to pick up something physical. And then he went like this, and then he picked it up with his physical hand. So what came to mind when you talk is that this energy body can go out and walk, can go out and experience things, and then it heals your physical body. But if you don't take command of that thought form of you can move around in this energy body, because a doctor says this can't happen, you're hallucinating, well then you hallucinate yourself to death, to sickness. But you can also imagine yourself through this subtle self in health, and it reflects in the physical. The psyche affects the soma. It's the exact reversal of the medical model. And you have portrayed that to the medical model, and you've affected the whole floor. So on some level, you're planting the seeds for maybe the next generation of doctors that is not just working with the physical body, but is working the way that you have worked, and institutionalize it to teach people this can be done. It has been done, and it will be done. Very interesting stuff.
And that's something I want to get back out there and share with the surgeons and share with the people that are just out there that have not experienced this or are experiencing trauma, but primarily with the medical industry. It's just like, let them know, like, it's all about the communication of what you're saying, providing hope, but not providing false illusions of what can be, but the understanding that you're not finished. You may be messed up, you may be broken, you may be shattered, but you're not finished. You can live more through the power of your mind.
Take care of body, mind, and spirit.
And there was 2 or 3 different surgeons that came to me and said, Mr. Bax, they look at my surgeries after I'm done, and they go, wow, you heal it really, really well. What have you been doing? And each surgeon, it was a bit of a different answer, but primarily the same thing. Well, I make sure I eat well. I exercise every day because I wanted to keep the blood flowing through the body. And first off, I wanted to pump out all the toxins that they injected me with. Normally it takes 3 to 5 years. It probably took about 3 to 5 weeks because I'd work out so hard that I'd break a sweat until there was actually like a haze around me, kind of like on the hood of a car, how you see the heat come off the car in the summer?
Yeah.
That was around my body. That was all the toxins coming out of my body.
Yeah.
So now I was healing. It was actually allow my injuries heal faster. I tell them I eat organic food, natural food, and I connect with the earth and tree hug. But I go out there and I just walk on the grass and just be with nature. And he goes, stop. I said, why? He goes, you gotta stop talking. I said, why? He goes, I spent copious amount of money studying the medical way of healing, the medical ways of science. And you're telling me that all I need to do is, with people that are sick and ill, they just got to connect with the earth and believe that they're well?
Yeah.
And I say, yeah. He goes, you got to stop there because you're going to mess up my understanding of the science that I've already studied, that I paid for. Either way, you're healed, you're well, just go on, I don't need to see you anymore.
Oh,
And they would shove me out of the room. Because most people would come back for 2 and 3 different follow-ups, but my wounds were so healed that he goes, they'd be shocked that it was. And then when they asked me how I did, they go, stop, I don't want to hear anymore. You're clear to go, I don't need to see you anymore.
So you broke the mold of sort of the limited thinking and, like spiritually perfect, like what an adventure, but nothing's wrong. What's the opportunity and solution, and then, sort of perfect mind or perfect thought. And it manifested in, it seemed like you got a pretty perfect, functioning body.
And instead of coming back, and they would say, go home and rest some. My rest was either in the pool, which is the best form of therapy. Mind you, I didn't have pools that often, but the YMCA is always around. In the pool, because it's a weightless form of therapy. Mm-hmm. But what I would do is I would cycle back to the follow-up, and I'd cycle to my pre-ops. I'd have to take a cab to the surgery guy. I didn't know how the hell to get home afterwards. But I'd cycle to the follow-ups, and I'd cycle to the pre-ops. And they go, you did what? And where was I living? I was living in Scarborough at the time. I had one surgery in St. Catharines, or was it Niagara Falls? I cycled around down there, and he goes, how'd you get here? I said, well, he goes, I was in my cycling gear. I said, I cycled here. I think the surgery was on my leg. He goes, what? I was like, well, you told me you don't. Like, I know that as the blood flows, it generates better healing. He goes, yes, it does. It does. I said, so I got the blood flowing, and I didn't like the chemicals you put in me to make me go out. It gave me a night's sleep, but I got to pump that junk out of my body. He goes, okay. They didn't understand because I wasn't taking a cab everywhere. Which doesn't mean it's not right to do so, but it's like I just wanted a better me. Go back to what you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And what you asked, that's how I just wanted to empower myself to be the best me that I possibly can and be a standing. What was it? I just want to stand here and be that being that shows people they are possible.
Yeah, exemplary
It's
and like a
also-
demonstration of really, divine. I'm gonna call it divine because it's like it's inspiring, and it's true in that you took everything and you imagined, but you actually committed to the imagination of developing it. You exercised hard. You said, "What can I do? What can I do?" Not what can't I do.
I ate well, I slept well, and I exercised well.
And you began to just breathe well, and you began to think well. And from that thinking well, you manifested that.
And that's what you guys were talking about earlier. It's like when you generate a thought, the thought becomes an action, the action becomes an outcome, and the outcome becomes who you are. So it all starts off with how you're communicating with yourself. Self-talk is the most powerful and the most significant instrument we have to construct and work this machine called human.
Yeah, for us or against us. So we make it for us.
Yeah. Just alter your words, and I wasn't the best at this in the beginning. What I would do is if I caught myself saying something crappy about myself, like, oh man, look at you, limpy bugger, or look at you, I'd make a goofy comment about my way I limped or scuffed my foot, I would apologize to myself. Because I respect and I appreciate and I love myself. Going back to mother's love, but I love this being, this source I call human as Daniel. This is my vessel. This is my machine to work in this round. I love it.
Yes.
And so I would say, I'm sorry, Daniel. I apologize. You are a powerful being. You are walking clearly. You're walking beautifully. And even though I had very, 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 very short-term memory because of the injury I had, I probably have to say that 6 or 7 times going on the block, so I heard it 6 or 7 times. But the great part is the subconscious doesn't know that it's the first time to my conscious self. It just hears myself telling me that I'm in great shape and I love myself.
You do. My goodness. And people are going to hear this today.
Yes. Really?
Because
I was trying to keep it a secret.
Oh, well, let the secret go. Let the secret go. Okay.
Yeah, this feel it's the human opinions may have people thinking that it's weird to talk to yourself or it's weird to say nice things to yourself. Well, if you don't, who's going to? And if nobody else around you or your environment is not telling you wonderful things of how good you look or how wonderful your hair is, Hilton, or I love the mustache you have there, brother. It's like if they don't compliment you on whatever it is, who the hell is going to?
Yeah.
You take the initiative and you'll realize that people around you will begin to communicate and see you the way you see yourself because we resonate in that energy. We draw and we bring forth that beings, those people, that experience for us to enjoy.
Yeah.
We see ourselves as less. We wonder why we're in a less environment. We see ourselves as more, and we don't wonder why somebody gave us a car or just showed up with a gift or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that if we take control of the inner dialogue and the inner movie and all that, then things happen around us, doors open that doesn't make sense from a logical point of view. But we're at the right place and the right time with the right person. And it's a certain serendipity, which we talked about with Bill Hilton.
Yes.
How you set the goal and you think it's going to go in a straight line, but that's not how spirit works. It goes all zigzaggy, but each time it goes in the wrong direction, even sometimes back, it's okay because you know that you're going towards the goal. Go ahead.
And you know that if it goes back, it's giving you an experience to take on the next challenge on the way to your goal.
Yes.
So
That's using it constructively, yes. Yes.
I also understand, Daniel, that you have some splendid goals that I've heard some of in past, but could you share again? What's
Absolutely.
present for you and what's future for you?
Which is great because my legs are still throbbing. I did an 86 kilometer bike ride this morning.
Woo! 86 kilometers?
Yeah, I was out going for a ride myself, and I happened to connect with these two or three splendid individuals, and we ended up. They were going primarily in where I wanted to go, but I just trailed along with them. So we ended up. By the time I got back to my house, it was 86 kilometers.
If you think you would ever like, it may be a bit weird, but just a thought. I'd like to ride a bike, but if that's speed and the low vision, it would just be reckless for me to do that.
Here's the gift to this. I was actually working with I don't recall what the group's called, but it's a group for blind people in the city,
Yes.
and we actually go out for bike rides on tandem bikes.
All
So
right.
we can get a tandem bike and we'll go for a bike ride.
Awesome. I am
Maybe
looking-
even get connected with that group. I don't recall what it is right now. It'll come
Yes.
to me later, but I'll let you know.
Okay, well, yes, that's wonderful.
So going back on the splendid goals.
Yes, please.
My goal, and this started off today because September,
Mhm.
I want to do the 120, but we have an 80 and a 120 cycle ride with.
That's kilometers, right?
Yeah, kilometers, yes. Ride around a route that we're making in Caledon, or that's already chosen in Caledon.
Mhm.
And it's through my friend's cycling club, Chain Reaction.
Yes.
And we're raising the money, and all the money that's raised from there is going to the Brain Injury Association to help to support the programs that are provided for people with brain injury.
Yes.
Because I endured a massive, massive brain injury, and this was a vision of mine, and he's helped bring it down from the bigger vision to doing the beginning steps. So now what we're doing after that is OBIA is called OBIA, Ontario Brain Injury Association, and they're in I think 35 cities or 36 different cities all around Ontario.
Yes.
And my goal is to take this initial ride this in September.
Mhm.
Don't recall the actual date, but we can talk more about that.
Yes.
In September, and fine tune it and make it bigger in each city.
Yes.
So each time we ride in all these cities, the money goes to the OBIA Association, Brain
that
Injury
community.
Association, and so we would just raise money in all 36 different cities around Ontario, and then the goal is to take that across Canada. To have the first annual bike ride, because there's nothing from coast to coast for brain injury. And if you look at the size of brain injury, it's freaking huge. Now they're even talking about it on sports and on TV all the time. But if you take breast cancer, AIDS, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, combine all 5 of those disorders together, brain injury, if you look at the size of them in 1 year, brain injury is 10 times larger, has 10 times more injuries than all these injuries combined.
Wow.
And yet there's nothing for brain injury. No fundraiser, no awareness. It's the annual fundraiser in each city that hopefully they get some money donated, because most times brain injury services are not for profit.
What are the mainstream services that are provided, or the traditional, that, is, the general outlook, and yet you've lived and are demonstrating a model beyond that. So, if you can, I'd like to just know what is, and then what is your vision of what can be and what you're building here.
So I mean by what is, like what is...
What is there now in the expectation in the brain injury, the trauma community, in terms of the medical systems? And I think you covered it, but then you're a demonstration of something new and a new possibility. And training more frontline.
Well, let me just say
Please.
something here.
Yeah.
What you're doing is great. You're going to raise money. From my perspective, I would like to see a portion of that money given into training people to take on your mindset, because that's where the true healing is.
Yes.
From the subtle world into the physical is a whole different paradigm. And so they put all the money into the doctors doing the same stuff. It's not really helping people. There needs to be a change in the paradigm, a change in the structure of their approach. And they've shown in surgery, when the doctors are talking garbage, it harms the patient. They're told
yes.
not to talk about, this guy's not going to make it. Stop saying that. Do your job, shut up, And it's like, I know that certain doctors, some of the neurosurgeons, they listen to opera, they talk philosophy, they have a higher vibration to be able to go for 12, 15 hours to do this. Well, from my perspective, when you raise money, you set out the postulate that part of it is to teach the psyche of people how to heal themselves. And the other part of the money will go to the soma, the physical part that the doctors want. I want to pass that on because you've got the parts to do it.
Thank you for saying that, because that actually goes to something that I've been attempting to get off the ground, which starts back at where we first met, but now it's time for it to go. Like with my book, I've got 35 different chapters in there on how I overcame different challenges. I don't recall all the themes right now. It's my book and I don't recall it. But look it up, The Life of Your Choice. There's 4 themes in there and there's 35 different chapters and they're all working. We've got them put together as to understanding your goals and where you are.
Where is The Life of Your Choice available?
It's available online at Amazon. It's available at all the bookstores, Kohl's, well, not all the bookstores, but like major bookstores like Kohl's and Chapters
Yes.
and Indigo.
Yes.
And you can obviously order it online, like I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing is we're going to take, with the programs going in there, some of that money is not going directly to myself, but it's for them to hire me as a to implement these the wellness program that I intend to bring in there, going through my chapters. I would
Yes.
work with them, I talk with them. We set up maybe different segments, like however it works. Like maybe over this season we would go through however many chapters we can, or 1 chapter a week, and give them goals to go home to obtain.
Yes.
Like something as simple as, like, say, a chapter called Just Give. Give unconditionally with love, like I mentioned earlier. Part of that chapter is just give. And if you're not injured, you're not hurting, you're not harmed, and you're driving somewhere and you see someone trying to get your parking spot because you would like to be closest to the building, your child's with you, park at the back of the parking lot, enjoy the walk to the building with them, and just give that space up. You'll realize something like you might be short 15 cents at the till, and the person behind you goes, here's a quarter, or here's $5, or here, let me cover that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it may be, just give. Like, could be
Look for reasons to give
Yeah.
anywhere and everywhere.
could be buy the guy behind you a coffee. Don't even tell him, just walk out and say, here's $5, take care of the next few people in the line.
Yes.
Obviously, you're at Starbucks, that might do 1 coffee.
But it'll be a big one.
Yeah. But if you're at Tim Hortons, you might be able to help serve 2 or 3 different customers behind you.
Yes, yes.
It's things like that. It's like, just give unconditionally. So when you're
And-
working with people that are in victim mode and in these facilities,
And that's beyond just trauma in terms of a massive trauma. People that are in victim mode in even functioning life, but that's their internal program. And if
Yeah.
they're experiencing physical challenges, or emotional or mental, they could apply the same work to everybody, couldn't
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, just
really
be
clean up
happy.
thought.
Like you mentioned earlier, just be happy you're alive and just celebrate life, and you watch what comes. Don't count it and don't expect it, because it'll come to you at the most inopportune times, when it's designed to be there.
Yes.
Not inopportune, at the most unexpected times when it's
Yeah.
designed to be there.
Hmm.
And oftentimes through multiple sources.
Yes.
It's just because you are being you and you're being loved. So just giving. You're giving this position, giving an elderly person a hand on the bus, or opening the door for somebody. Whatever it may be, just give, and you'd be surprised what comes back around to your world. And one of the biggest reasons why this is going to be implemented all through the rehabilitation community is because most times when you're injured, the last thing you want to do is give anything, because you're expecting everything.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing you need to do, is actually start giving and respecting life and appreciating yourself before you can actually get anything back that's going to be of great service to you.
And the giving is just giving, not wanting anything in return, and the return happens as a natural product of the giving.
Yes.
That's really, I guess, one of the important steps to the divine, or to experience the divine. Mm.
Because the divine gives us love unconditionally, not expecting anything in return. Just says, use this love that I'm giving you and be a source of love.
Mm-hmm.
And love, as it says in the call it the Human Owner's Manual, the Bible. Even doesn't matter how many times it's been manipulated and turned around and try to mean something else. The divine truth is right there. Give and you shall receive. It's not give and or but. It's give and you shall receive.
Yes.
It doesn't
It's
say
so
give and
simple.
count all the blessings that you're going to get back. No, it says give and you shall receive.
What are some of your other favorite touchstones?
How many hours do we have? Some. Right now in this world, in my new life, it's everything been really based on the recovery and just coming back around and rebuilding life. So everything, all my touchstones are based on who I become.
Yes.
And yeah, I've had some moments there where people would say, that dude wasn't the best. I didn't like what he did, or he wasn't the nicest person, or he's an ass. But again, I've chosen to learn from those and bettered myself all the way through. So I'm guessing something that I experience every single day is just learning from my own mistakes, whether it be my loved ones sharing with me what I've not done or not done properly or could have done differently or may have, or just be more thoughtful and do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then that allows me to grow and experience that. And sometimes it takes me a few times to get it, what's wild is I'm not coming into this and saying that I'm perfect. I'm coming into this and saying, whom can I become and what can I learn on this journey?
Yes.
It's all about the journey.
That's beautiful, and it's so simple too. You know, it's like what you give to the world, you give to yourself. A mistake is not a mistake. It might look like a stumbling block, but it's a stepping stone, depending on your view of what's happening. You can control your view so that everything that comes to you becomes a learning experience that elevates you.
And it'll provide you a whole new perception of that scenario so that it won't impact you in a disempowering way for years to come.
Yes, exactly.
Because now you can say, well, I
Well said.
had this one accident about 12 years ago where I partially severed my head and was screwed up and in hospital and blah, 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 blah. Or you can say, I had one hell of an experience. I'm very gifted to be here, but this has been a joyous journey.
Yeah.
And I intend to do it. I want to spend the next 15 years on my bike, cycling around the world and presenting these gifts and raising this money for the Brain Injury Association, letting them know I want to be the being of possibility, to show them that we are so infinitely possible. When we set our mind to it and communicate to ourselves that we are, we will become.
I love that expression, infinitely possible.
Well, if the Creator said, I created you in my own like image, it wasn't, well, only if you go to church and pray 14 times a day and. No, I created you in my like image.
Yes.
Your shit's messed up, fix it.
Yeah.
You did something wrong, learn from it. You need to heal?
Give
Meditate.
Give and you shall receive.
Yeah.
Give.
You want better and wellness for yourself? Take some time and be alone. Be with self. Meditate. Be silent. Stop your mind for 5, 10 minutes or 40 minutes. Stop. Just before bed, I sit up in bed every night or on my cushion down. It depends on where I am. But I meditate every night and every single morning.
Can you tell me and tell us about how you meditate? How do you do it?
Well, I go like this. I start to hover. No.
He's a being of possibility,
I get silent and
I do the hovering in my prayers too. So like, okay, we're not going too far, so we're going to be right here. That'll be
you and I
good
should
enough.
hang out tonight.
So you get silent.
I get silent. I just try to silence my mind, and if you find you got all kinds of, oftentimes in the beginning you get all kinds of noise bouncing around and stories from the day or this or that or what I need to do, just focus on your breath. Feel your breath come in, feel your breath go out, and ask a question. And the question is, like myself say with business, what's my next step with business? Which way should I take? This or A or B? Then just get silent, start focusing on the breath and feeling the breath go in your lungs. Feel it exhaust and just focus on that. And when you're there, you realize this doesn't work. But then by the time that consciousness comes around, you realize you didn't think a damn thought for the next 5 minutes straight. Do it again and do it again. Ask another question. Do it again. And whether
these could be useful questions. So it could be as simple as, what is my next step, to take better care of my physical health.
Exactly.
Or my emotional health, or mental health, or spiritual
Or-
health, or even financial health. Whatever the question is, what is a next step?
Anything. Yes. Or it's like,
Or
which
you
one
go-
should I choose? Should I choose this or that? And then just get silent, and your mind will say, well, it'll give you, it'll without you going in there and trying to design,
Or
this
figure
or
it
that,
out,
this or that. You'll get an understanding. It's like a spiritual, when you connect with other spiritual beings, and I'm certain that we've done this, a glimpse has an entire message behind it.
Yes.
It's like one word you'll get the entire message. You won't even have to hear things sometimes. You'll just get a feeling, a sensation of something, and that sensation has the full explanation in detail of what it is, and that sensation might have been 10,000ths of a second.
Yeah.
It's all connecting with our higher, but also it subsumes the lower into our infinite self. And
It does.
And that higher perception, that's that instantaneous, that if you try to put it in words, it could be a million words. But
could
it
be a
all happened
novel.
in a split second, but it just, boom, it's given. It's like the novelist that saw a fin on the water when she was on a boat, and she wrote a whole book just for that experience of the fin breaking the water. Her whole book was based on that. So the whole book was given, in that one look she saw, and then the novel came. So what you're saying, and to the audience too, this is very important, it's that instantaneous understanding. It's a seed that grows into a huge tree.
And with that, as you're saying, and what we said is, pay attention to the thoughts that you have. Because if, for example, if your mind's telling you should turn right, but you say, no, the GPS says I got to go this way, I got to go that way. If it's saying turn right and it comes back to you over and over and over and louder, make the freaking right turn.
Yes, and make it instantly.
Because somebody could be either zipping through the intersection, miss the stop sign, clock you, or it could be the fact that now you're in a traffic jam and you're going to be late for whatever it may be. It may be, very powerful. It might just be a delay. But either way, it could mean a significant difference to yourself. So just hear yourself. And when you talk, yes, we all talk to ourselves, but when you talk to yourself, listen to the answers. Don't just talk and then make some kind of answers up and say, just talk. And when you ask yourself some questions, just listen. Be silent. Even if it's a walk from one light to the next, a block, just be silent. That's the biggest challenge for most people, is try to stop your mind from going skitter scatter for just one block. That's the challenge for you guys out there today. Walk one block in silence. Not talking, not listening to anything, and not thinking about all things you didn't do or you should do. Just be silent. And focus on your breath for one block. Be amazed how you feel at the end of that block. You're like, holy crap, I should do this again.
I will take that on tonight in my walk.
Done. Yes.
And how about you, Stephen? What new thing might you take on?
I'm going to, like I say again and again with people, when I grow up, I want to be just like Daniel. And you do have to grow up to assimilate new ideas. But this idea of silence, you go into a very deep, deep part of yourself that knows everything. And when you attune to that, you have an intuitive understanding of life. And what you do is not necessarily rational, but it's what works. Because rationally, Daniel should not be sitting here. If he imbibed of that rationality of the doctors, he wouldn't be here. But he's gone to the level of knowing something, even though it can't be completely verbalized, and trusting that knowing as the highest part of his being.
Because oftentimes when we get these thoughts, as you mentioned, or these statements that we hear in our mind. It's our intuitive self communicating with us. We just don't take time to listen. And when we don't, we said, crap, I knew I should have done that, or shit, I was going to do that. Why didn't I do that?
Yes.
Oh, I should have been the one that did this. And whether it be an invention and somebody made $1 million from, or $100 million from, or you should have made the right turn or the left turn, or you whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
You pick up the dog poop in the front yard, but you didn't do it when you knew that you could because it'd be inconvenience, and you stepped in it the next day with your dress shoes on.
Yeah, the divine death has a sense of humor too.
It does.
It's
It
not
does.
teaches you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a shitty one, but it's still a sense of humor. But yeah,
And even when you can laugh at that, then it's like, okay, and like, not only do we survive it, like, it's a part of life.
it is. And then go back to what we said in the beginning. It's like, what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
Whom can I become because of this?
Yes.
And sometimes it's something simple like that. Like we just happen to step on some junk, we're scuffing off on the grass.
Yes.
But that will enlighten us for the rest of the day, that we don't take that step when we were just ready to rush off across the road to the lunch place from work or whatever, when some guy didn't slow down, zipping around the corner at the red light. And we just went, okay, be patient. Shit. You might have step in that turd at the door or the front yard on the way to your car or whatever, or some goose poop, that would happen to be all over the damn place on the beaches. It's like, that could have you be more aware of the fact that you got to pay more attention to your next step.
I had that experience this morning. This morning was one of the first mornings in decades that I've actually, when I woke up early, rather than just take my time to meditate, and I actually got up quickly and decided, okay, I'm just going to go out and go for a light jog. And it's always fraught with a bit of danger, and a bit of excitement, and I'm grateful. And so, I'm on a safe path rather than in the middle of the road. So I get myself, launched. And what was I was, as I was going across some bridges and so on and so forth, and sort of a nature trail, I noticed some scents, and they went, and I realized I needed to step more carefully or jog more carefully, and sure enough, there were some dark patches that, because of the and I realized I needed to slow down. But I actually, by listening and to my senses and noticing the subtle but different smell, I thought, no, there's something going on here. And I sort of jogged safely through, at least this time.
You missed the landmines.
Yeah, indeed. And it was just such a joy now to find that. And I think what it was is I had some fear that, that early morning there'd be more of that than perhaps in the afternoons or different times. It may have gotten cleaned up, or at least this fantasy I had in my mind. But now here, I actually have the new reality or imagination and the demonstration that we can dance with life every day, every moment, every engagement. We can use for empowering, enlightening, and and also envisioning really helps.
Yes.
Yeah, when I was 4 years old, my cousin and I would run across the street. Okay, so we're running across. He gets to the other side. I start running across, and he says, "Go back."
Yes.
And my higher self said, "Keep going." And my rational self said, "He's older than me. I should go back." And when I turned, I got hit by the car, and I was under the car. And I think I talked about one of these, and it's like I was like this, and I went, "Oh, there's blood on the street. It's my blood." And that was a principle of you know what the right thing is to do. You can consider what other people have said to you, but that inner knowing comes first. And when you follow that, you are attuned to something higher.
And oftentimes when it comes through and it's in like an emergency state or a place like that where you could get hit, it comes through bold and loud and clear. and we still don't listen to it, or if we're such as the right turn, make a right. Just go right. Take that right. It gets a little louder and a little more bold in its saying, and it's in your mind. It's like, I just didn't want. Oh, that's why. I knew I should have taken the right. Oh, I can't back up. There's a whole line of cars behind me. So it's like, we just need to, like, such as taking the jog. When you hear the essence of your inner being or the soul speaking to you, take a moment and ask, what can I do for you?
Yeah. What can I do for you?
And that is
Great
our
question.
quest here. What can we do for you?
Yes, what can we do for you?
And in service, in light, in love, in joy. Thank you for tuning in to Divine Times. Daniel Bax, Stephen, just some divine dudes here, and to all you divine dames, connect with your divine, take some time to listen for it, and let your divine shine.
And take some time, be silent. Attempt to walk a block in silence.
Total Milan, Divine Times. We'll see you in the divine.
Peace.
Namaste.
Namaste.
So at the end, the dog licks me in the back of the ear.